Here you can see a Philippine Coast Guard vessel jammed between a Chinese Coast Guard vessel and a Chinese destroyer, and just how tightly it's being squeezed or pincered before the collision takes place. They and some 20 other Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia that morning, counted by marine expert Ray Powell, were trying to stop a Philippine Coast Guard activity supplying food and buying catch off their fishermen. So Tony, lead us off with why this incident is such a big deal.
Well, I think this accident demonstrates the big problem that China is having. The Chinese PLA, People's Liberation Army, has expanded so fast that although they have a lot of new and big toys, they don't have an experienced operator of those toys. This ship captain, especially the one that's in the destroyer has committed a very fundamental mistake as a ship captain. I was surprised that that destroyer continued to pursue the Filipino ship an hour after that accident instead of stopping to rescue his partner in the Coast Guard. And this is unusual. During wartime, of course, you continue fighting, but during peacetime.
So perhaps they haven't had the right training. That's what you're
saying. Precisely, the right training or right rules or regulations that talk about this. During peacetime, when these accidents happen, you help your partner. And so the other thing is the action of this destroyer, which is 7,500 tons, against something that's 20 times smaller. I think they were very fortunate that that destroyer didn't hit the Filipino ship.
All right. President Lai, were you surprised that that was actually a Navy ship, a destroyer, that was in this? Or did you see this as an escalation?
I think that it seems that the Chinese tactic is to have the Coast Guard ship to pursue against the Philippine Coast Guard ship and also try to water cannon it. At the same time, the Chinese Navy ship basically just trying to stop the Filipino Coast Guard ship from going further. Just try to blockade or contain it. But then I think it's a very smart seamanship by the Filipino Coast Guard ship. They evade the incoming Chinese destroyers. And then the Chinese Coast Guard ship just continues to pursue and then just hit its own Navy ship and cause damage of its own.
Yeah, and Tony, you were talking about perhaps the lack of skills and training or rules, but also you talked about, it switched to a humanitarian incident. And Jay Tariella, the Coast Guard spokesman, said that after the collision, they actually offered this man overboard recovery and medical aid to the Chinese Coast Guard, but there was no response. How would you compare, the behavior shown in this incident? You've got the great power China, and then you've got a much smaller country, middle power Philippines.
It demonstrates a major difference in thinking. The normal democratic countries, human lives come first. Chinese military think differently, and this is dangerous, and this is almost inhuman. There were 3 Chinese Coast Guard personnel at the bow of the Chinese Coast Guard ship placing collision cushions because they saw the collision coming. So they're trying to reduce the impact. And at the moment of impact, what happened to those 3 people, we don't know. But based on the 3 to 5 seconds timing, they wouldn't have opportunity to escape because we're not at war. This is peacetime. Therefore, the normal thing is human life come first.
But maybe that is the key to them. They are at war, Tony.
That is true. Maybe China is already considered themselves to be in a state of war, only they haven't publicly announced it.
President Lai, so we've spoken about the Mutual Defense Treaty. If it had been the Philippine vessel that had been injured, and over the past few years, the Philippines, US, Australia have consistently warned China when they've been involved in these near misses, either in the air or in the sea, about the dangers. How do you think Beijing will be assessing this incident? Do you think they'll be getting that feedback that this indeed is too risky?
But I think that whether to enact this mutual defense treaty, I think the U.S. attitude, Trump administration especially, is crucial. Because right now we already see a near collisions or near damage about the Philippine Coast Guard ship, although this time it's Chinese ship that got injured. But this incident could very much spread all the way to the Philippines, its own military as well as its own government officials. So that's the U.S. attitude right now. Whether they make a statement about it or not, I think that signifies a very important signal to China. Whether the United States is thinking about this very seriously, or basically the U.S. would take it as this is the bilateral matter between Philippines and China. So I would say that for anything China try to assess, Trump administration, in my view, they need to make a statement about this. Yeah.
So the ball is in the US court at the moment on this incident. Okay, many observers believe this incident was a direct result of China's overreaction toward Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos's comments on Taiwan while on a state visit to Delhi. Beijing complained that Marcos was, quote, playing with fire. This is what he actually said when asked by India's First Post media whether he would open Philippine bases up to the Americans in a war over Taiwan. Watch.
To be very practical about it, if there is a confrontation over Taiwan between China and the United States, there is no way that the Philippines can stay out of it, simply because of our physical geographic location. And so if you think about it, if there is an all-out war, then we will be drawn into it. And I assure you with the greatest hesitation, but we will have to defend our territory and our sovereignty. Furthermore, there are many, many Filipino nationals in Taiwan, and that would be immediately a humanitarian problem, because we will have to get involved, because we will have to go in there or find a way to go in there and to bring our people home.
Now, Marcos has responded to Beijing's allegations with this.
I was just stating facts. We do not want to go to war. But I think if there is a war over Taiwan, we will be drawn. Hihilain tayo sa aya't gusto natin. Kicking and screaming. We will be drawn and dragged into that mess.
Now, Tony, Taiwan Talks didn't initially report this part of the interview because it is actually their stated position. It's been publicly communicated by Defense Secretary Todoro, and it's based on the facts of geographical proximity, as Marcos said, as well as the rescue of their citizens from Taiwan. So when it comes to, quote, playing with fire, do you see any irony in this?
It is funny, we just talked about ship incident where truly China is playing with fire. But it is funny that truly, Marcos' statement should not be a surprise to anybody, okay? He just stating the facts, and because if we look at the recent multilateral exercises and activities in northern Luzon, around the Philippines, it has one purpose: to deter China. So if China thinks this is something new, I don't think that that's stupid. So I think...
You agree with Marcos, who said that they misinterpreted for propaganda reasons?
Absolutely, absolutely. The fact that Marcos no longer accepts China's bullying like his predecessor, Duterte. Duterte tried to appease China and listen to China, but only resulted in China taking further pressure on the Philippines and denying the use of their own EEZ. So Marcos learned from that. He's no longer accepting that bullying from China. And what he said, like I said, should be no surprise to anybody.
President Lai, you know, nobody wants this crisis. The Philippines doesn't want a Taiwan crisis. Taiwan doesn't want it either. The only side that would want it, if it were to happen, would be China. The only side that could start it is China. Again, if you can help us unpack this strange twist of narrative.
Well, Chinese has this history of the torturing and the twisting all the narratives in the past. For example, during the 90s, especially in the late 90s, there were the discussion about the missile defense system in Japan, in Korea. And then China started to attack Japan and Korea by saying that you have a missile defense system, you are harming Chinese capability to hit you, so that that's dangerous, and that's a security dilemma, and you're escalating the tensions. And then China also accused Taiwan for making our defense stronger, because that would make it harder for them to attack Taiwan. So that's Taiwan's boosting our defense, and our when we try to buy some bulletproof vest, that's provocations, and because they'll make it hard for China to really harm us. That's all the Chinese tactic. They always wanted to twist it, the whole things in the favor that the provocateur is actually being a victim. Why is that so? So I would say that we should never fall into their this rhetorical trap.